Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the day 2 of our 10-day free NET-JRF Crash Course, Embark, provided by Muslim Students Federation, MSF EFLU Hyderabad. Following a successful session yesterday, led by Mr. Saidu Muhammad Sir, Assistant Professor of SRM University, Chennai, on the topic Reasoning and Mathematical Aptitude, we are now honored to have Mr. Shabab Karunyam Sir, PhD scholar from EFL University, Hyderabad, and also a skilled trainer for addressing the topic People Development and Environment. Without further ado, let's commence today's session. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Shabab Sir for the exciting class of Day 2. Without going to any further formalities, I think let's get dive into the today's session. Once again, I welcome our wonderful faculty, Mr. Shabab sir. Sir, please.
Yes. Am I audible, Neha?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Good evening, my dear friends. Thank you, Neha. Uh, I'm Shabab Kya, doing my PhD in Hindi at EFLU Hyderabad. First of all, I appreciate Team Embark and Team MSF EFLU for initiating an intensive crash course in paper one in free of course in the last moments of NET-JRF preparation. And thank you for inviting me to give some classes. So as you know, I'm going to teach you people development and environment topic. Before starting the session, I would like to tell two things. The first one is so many people asking me to how do we prepare for NET and JRF preparation. I think I know this is the funniest question in the last moments of NET JRF preparation, but I have to answer. There are so many techniques to crack JRF and NET. It is very individual. There are so many techniques. It varies upon your nature, the style of studying and all. So in my experience, I can tell you the best way to prepare is the doing mock test and taking notes. In my journey of JRF preparation, cracking JRF, I used to do a lot of mock tests. So I can surely tell you that the more mock tests you are doing, there is a higher probability of cracking NET and JRF. So the second thing is people development and environment is one of the easiest topic in the paper one. Uh, if you can remember something, if you can remember some points and taking notes and all, then it is very easy to crack NET and JRF because you can achieve the maximum 8 to 10 marks in paper one. There is a maximum mark is 10, I guess. So you can surely get 8 out of 10, or if you are best in people development and environment, you can get 10 out of 10. Okay, so without wasting the time, I can just go to the session. If you have some clarification needed, or there is something error with the network and the sound clarity or something, then you can just raise the hands, or you can just text in the chat box. Okay, so we are just sharing. Are you seeing my presentation? Please just comment in the chat box. Are you able to see my presentation? Voice is breaking. Okay, just I will just check it. Okay, then we can just go to the slides. First of all, I will just explain the syllabus of uh, people development and environment, what we have to study, what we have to prepare for the NET exam. So this is a very short time. We have to attend this session within 1 hour and 1 hour and something more. So I will go very fast. And if you have some doubts, you can raise the hands and all. Then after that, I will provide my study materials and all. Then I will provide some mock question, model questions. You can solve that. So you can read the syllabus in the presentation. The first one is the development and environment, Millennium Development and Sustainable Development Goals. There are so many goals and summits, conferences and all about conservating our natural environment and all. Human and environment interaction, anthropogenic activities and their impacts on environment. Then the another one is environmental issues, local, regional, and global. Air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution. There are so many pollutions we have to study. Noise pollution, waste management, and all. Climate change, its socio-economic and political dimensions. So basically, it's all about the conservation of our energy and our sustainable system, the environment. Impacts of pollutants on human health, natural and energy resources, solar, wind, soil, hydro, geothermal, biomass, nuclear, and forests. So then the fourth one is natural hazards and disasters, mitigation strategies, Environmental Protection Act, very important thing, Environmental Protection Act 1986, National Action Plan of Climate Change, international agreements, efforts, Montreal Protocol, Rio Summit, Convention on Biodiversity, Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, International Solar Alliance, and some extra. Okay. I will remind you something. uh, there there are so many points to remember the dates, the years, the names of the countries and all. So we can go to the next slides, and I will explain from the basic. From the primary slides, 1, 2, 3, 4 slides, I will just explain what is the population, what is the environment and all. It will not ask in the UGC NET JRF question paper, but you have to know the basic things about the population and environment. So you can easily think and connect the points in the topic. Okay. So population, what is that? I can show the a definition of population. What is population? As we know, population is a near permanent. This is the scientific definition. Okay. So population is a near permanent group of interbreeding individuals of a species found in a space or geographical area at the particular point. It is called local population or domain. Metapopulation is a complex of local populations connected by dispersing individuals. So I hope the point will not ask in the UGC NET exam, but you have to know the basics, the what is the definition of what is population. Then you have to you should know what is population. That's why I just put the slide as the first slide. Okay. So main factors affecting the population. From here, we are going to some serious topics. Main factors are affecting the population. First one is natality, birth rate. Birth rate we call natality for birth rate, mortality, as you know, and population dispersal, immigration, and migration, age distribution, pre-reproductive, reproductive, and post-reproductive. There are so many stages in distribution of matters. So that is the three stages of age distribution: pre-reproductive, reproductive, and post-reproductive. Population growth rate, carrying resources, mainly food, water, space. There are limited resources to support all life form. Population density is number of individuals divided by space. Then if we the what is population density? For an example, in Tarnaka, in Hyderabad, the number of people living in Hyderabad in the boundary of in a specific area. Hyderabad is a specific area or a district in a state. So population density is the number of individuals divided by the space. So number of students, if we calculate the population density of Hyderabad, the number of people living in Hyderabad by divided by the what is the area of Hyderabad district or Hyderabad city. That is the population density. Okay. So environment. What is environment? We are talking about the environment. The term environment is derived from the French word environner. The word is originated from the word environner. That is a French word. It means to surround, the surround. to surround. According to Environment Protection Act 96, we mentioned earlier, uh, environment includes all the physical and biological surroundings of an organism and their interactions. Environment is defined as the sum of water, air, and land, and the interrelationships that exist among them and with the human beings, other living organisms, and materials. This is the definition of environment. So we have to just know what is environment. That's why the point is here. Okay. In context of relation between the people and environment, sorry, people and environment, concept of environmental determinism developed by a 19th century Europe. Please note this environment. What is environmental determinism? That's the point. Developed by 19th century in Europe, a belief that environment determines how a culture develops. For example, which European nations believe that white European nations believed that the people from warmer climates were lazier because they did not have to work as hard to survive. This is the funniest thing, right? In the first half of the 20th century, though environmental determinism was replaced with environmental positivism. So these are two theories. So first of all, the first theory is environmental determinism. That is the craziest thing, I guess. And the second one is environmental positivism. What is environmental positivism? Which is the belief that the environment puts limits on people, but that it does not determine how they will behave. Okay, the environmental atmosphere will not affect that much as we know the environmental determinism. So with the belief that environment puts the limit on people, but that it does not determine how they will behave. Okay, so there is no relationship between the behavior of human beings and their atmosphere and climate. So these are the two theories about the environment, basic human beings life. Okay, so what is ecology? The term ecology was coined by Ernest Haeckel in 1869. Ecology deals with the study of organism. Basically, it's a simple thing. It's a simple logic. Ecology deals with the study of organism in their natural form. Okay. It is the scientific study of relations that living organisms have with respect to each other and their natural environment, the ecosystems. It is the scientific study of the relations that living organisms have with respect to each other and their natural environment, the ecosystem. It is present at three levels, which are the follows. Okay, the ecology, we can divide the ecology as three parts. What are that? Those three parts: the individual organism, how individuals are affected by the environment, and how they in turn affect the environment. Okay. Then second thing is the population. What is population? We already learned that. What is population? And the community. Community. What is community? Uh, a community is a group of people doing some similar things. Basically, we can say that the community is a group of people have some similarities. Similarity, we can say that similarities in culture, similarities in religion, or similarities in some caste or anything. So the ecology is this is not only about the human beings. This is about all organisms in the environment. So we can call animal community. We can call insect community. We can call the community of human beings and all. So ecology is a very inclusive thing. Okay, ecology is defined as a study of ecosystem. The main thing is from this slide is ecology is defined as a study of ecosystem. Though there is a 1 mark question, what is ecology? Then you will get four options. What is ecology? That is a very easiest question that will be asking in the net UGC net question paper. So what is ecology? Ecology is defined as the study of ecosystems. Okay. So what is species? What are species? The organisms in the world can be divided into different species. Just as human beings are a species, so are the roses and neem trees. We can call cats, the community of cats are the cats is a cat is a species. We can call dog as a species, group of those categories. This organism in the world can divide into three different species. Just as human beings are a species, so are those roses and neem trees. In the slide, I just gave an example of roses and neem trees. Okay. So, a species is a set of organisms that resemble each other in a certain features. Okay. What is species? A species is a set of organisms that resemble each other in certain features. The members of a species living together and interacting with each other are called population. Then what is population here? The members of a species living together. Uh, there are so many organisms living together in this earth, for example, human beings, and interacting with each other are called population. So the interrelationship, the interaction with the organisms are called populations. So species diversity is the another term is species diversity. What is species diversity? It is an important attribute of biotic community, which is determined by total number of species and their relative abundance. Greater species diversity indicates higher number of niches and greater stability of the community. So if you say the environment, for example, the national parks of India has very highest species diversity. We can say the Silent Valley in Kerala, Gir Forest in Gujarat, the Jim Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. We can say the species diversity of those national parks are very high. Okay, so ecosystems, well, we can talk about ecosystems. The term ecosystem was defined by Arthur Tansley. Then, if the question uh, is like this, who is the father of, who coined the term ecosystem? Who defined ecosystem? Not coined. Who defined the ecosystem? The uh, scientist Arthur Tansley defined the term ecosystem in which year? 1935. Ecosystem is a self-regulating community. Ecosystem is a self-regulating community of living organisms, populations of species, interacting with each other and their non-living physical environment. For example, forest ecosystem and ocean ecosystem. There are two different ecosystems for the example. In the forest ecosystem, we can see the animals, birds, and other organisms, but we cannot see them in the oceans and rivers. That is another ecosystem. We can see fishes and other organisms in the ocean ecosystem. So, what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is a self-regulating community of living organisms interacting with each other and their non-living physical environment. Okay, so all ecosystems on the planet are interconnected and interdependent, and together they make up the biosphere. Okay, this is a very important thing. All ecosystems on the planet are interconnected and interdependent, and together they make up the biosphere. This is very interesting and very easiest thing. We all might already studied in the our primary classes. In an open ecosystem, there is free exchange of energy and matter with outside world. In a closed ecosystem, there is no or very limited exchange. So we can divide ecosystem as two. One is open ecosystem. There are so many transactions. There are so many free exchange of energy and matter with the outside world. In a closed ecosystem, there is no or very limited exchange. For example, in Antarctica, there are very a rare number of species are living there. So, as compared to Antarctica to India, India is a the ecosystem basically in the ecosystem in the India is very that is very open compared to Antarctica. Okay, so living components in an ecosystems are either the producers or consumers. They are also called biotic components. The producers we might already study that there are components. There are some components like consumers uh, and producers and all. So they are also called biotic components. Producers produce organic components like producers, the plants and all. Plants provide some crops and all. For example, plants produce starch, carbohydrates, and cellulose by a process called photosynthesis. As we know, photosynthesis is a process of producing starch, carbohydrates, and cellulose. Then different living organisms constitute the biotic components of an ecosystem and belong to the following categories: producers, consumers, and decomposers. So producers producing starch and all, then consumers are consuming from the producers. Consumers, for example, human beings are consumers, the animals are consumers. And what are decomposers? Decomposers are those bacteria. They can they can decompose the living organisms, and that can decompose to dead matter, a living organism to a dead matter. Okay, so yeah, it is explaining here. Producers or autotroph, we can call autotrophs for producers. These producers, these produce their own food. Green plants produce food through photosynthesis by combining carbon dioxide and water with the help of energy in the form of sunlight. Then who are the consumers? Consumers depend upon producers to their food. For example, human beings and other animals. These organisms get their food by feeding on other organisms. They are the following type: herbivores. The consumers are divided to four categories. Herbivores are feed on plants, for example, rabbit and insects. They will just directly feed from plants. Okay. They will not eat. Basically, we call the vegetarian and vegans and all, right? Uh, for example, I just tell that herbivores feed on plants, for example, rabbit and insects. Then carnivores. Who are the carnivores? Are those animals that eat other animals. Then we can call human beings can eat other animals. We have chicken, we have mutton, we will eat uh, so many other meats, right? So there are two types. Secondary carnivores feed on herbivores, for example, a frog and a small fish. Okay. So tertiary carnivores feed on other carnivores, for example, a snake and big fish. Then this is just the network of food. We are just basically saying that carnivores, secondary carnivores and tertiary carnivores. Okay, secondary carnivores eat herbs, plants, and all. No, carnivores eat some animals who eat some plants. Okay. Then the second thing is the tertiary carnivores feeds on other carnivores like lion, tiger. If the lion or tiger uh, do not does not eat the plants. They eat other animals like deers, rabbits, and all. So the lion and tiger are tertiary carnivores. Then what are omnivores? Feed on both plants and animals. Then we can say human beings are omnivores. We can have vegetable food and vegetarian food and non-veg simultaneously. For example, uh, yeah, Shahana Zia raised her hand. Uh, yeah, what is wrong? or by mistake you raise your hand? Okay, just leave it. We are just yeah, yeah, we are just saying about omnivores. Then human beings are omnivores. Feed on both plants and animals. For example, humans, rats, and many species of birds. Then, who are detritivores? Uh, Detritivores feed on dead organisms. For example, earthworm, crabs, and ants. The living beings that feed on dead or decayed organic matter are also called saprophyte. For an earthworm, earthworm is not eating any animal, any living organism. Earthworm usually eats what? The soil. Okay. So we can call earthworm as a detritivores. Then or decayed organic matters are also called saprophyte. We can call them saprophytes also. They are fungi and bacteria, which does not contain any chlorophyll and are dependent on dead organisms for their food. Then there is a difference between detritivores and saprophytes. The saprophytes do not eat the chlorophyll things. The earthworm is a detritivorous and eat the parts of the dead leaf and all. That has a yeah, that's a chlorophyll thing, right? The dead leaf is also a chlorophyll thing. So, but the saprophyte, the fungus and bacteria, they do not eat what? The chlorophyll. They are just eat the dead organism. They are dependent on dead organism for their food. So, what are the decomposers? These are microorganisms that break down organic matters into organic compounds, and this process derive their nutrition. Decomposes. What are decomposes? These microorganisms like bacteria and all that break down organic matter, into inorganic compounds. There are so many so many microorganisms in our body, human body. If we eat some rice and some dal, uh, the decomposers do the job. Uh, what they will convert the organic matter into inorganic compounds. The process is called decomposing. Okay, that is helping for our nutrition. Then what is abionic? What are abiotic components? In ecology, abiotic components are non-living chemical and physical factors in the environment that affects the ecosystems. Then example are water, light, wind, soil, humidity. The water and soil are non-living organism, but it is doing a very uh, important role in our uh, in our lives of the human beings and other organisms. So, wind, soil, humidity, minerals, and gases, they affect the ability of organisms to survive and reproduce. Without soil and water, without soil, wind, humidity, and minerals, we cannot live. We cannot survive in the earth. So, abiotic components are very important in the lives of the living organisms. They also help determine the types and numbers of organisms able to exist in the environment. Okay, the function of ecosystems. It has different food chain and food verbs. Uh, Food chain is a sequence of eating and being eaten. We know all of these things. These are the basic things. Food chains are generally found to be interlinked and interwoven as a network and hence known as food web. There are several options of eating and being eaten in the food web, hence this are more stable. There is unidirectional flow of energy. It flows from sun, and the basic source of energy is sun. So it flows from sun, and then after it captured by primary producers, green plants. Then some animals eat plants of product or products of plants, flows through the food chain or the food web. Materials or nutrients in ecosystem move in a cyclic manner. The cycling of nutrients take place between the biotic and abiotic components. Then every ecosystem functions to produce and sustain some primary production, plant biomass, and secondary production, animal biomass. So every ecosystem regulates and maintains itself. The self-regulation or control system is known as cybernetic system. Then what is cybernetic system? The self-regulation or control system. Every ecosystem regulates and maintains itself. The self-regulation and control system of the ecosystems is called cybernetic system. So I go very fast. So we have to conclude uh, in a very short time. So important terms related to environment I can explain. Ecological footprint. What is ecological footprint? The ecological footprint measures human consumption of natural resources in comparison to Earth's ecological capacity to regenerate them. Ecotone. What are ecotones? Ecotones is a transitional area of vegetation between two different plant communities, such as forest and grassland. Forest and grasslands are the simple examples of ecotone. Then what is edge effect? The influence of the two boarding communities on each other is known as the edge effect. Influence of two bordering communities. Okay, biosphere. There are different types of ecosystem around us, which involve living organisms and non-living things. If we combine all the ecosystem present on Earth, then it is called biosphere. Biomass. Uh, the terrestrial portion of biosphere is divided into biomass. They usually have distinct climates and life form adapted to that climate. Desert, grasslands, tropical forest, and rainforests are main examples of biomass. Then don't be confused between biomass and biomass. Biomass is an area or the terrestrial portion of biosphere. Then biomass uh, is a different thing. Okay. Then habitat, the area of natural environment in which an organism or population normally lives is called habitat. A habitat is made up of physical factors such as soil, moisture, range of temperature, and availability of light, as well as biotic factors such as availability of food and the presence of predators. Okay. So I hope you are clear about this. Four spheres of Earth. We already know these things. Four spheres. What are the four spheres of Earth? Lithosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and atmosphere. The lithosphere is a solid rocky crust covering the Earth, the entire planet. Actually, we can see the lithosphere. This is the peripheral part of the Earth. This crust is an inorganic and is composed of minerals. It covers the entire surface of Earth from the top of Mount Everest to the bottom of Mariana Trench. The top of Mount Everest is the highest peak of the Earth, and the Mariana Trench is the very deepest the zone of the Earth. Then hydrosphere. What is hydrosphere? Hydrosphere is composed of all water uh, on near the Earth. This includes the ocean, rivers, lakes, and even the moisture in an air. Okay, so what is related? All the things related to water in the earth that area is called hydrosphere. Then what is biosphere? Biosphere is composed of all living organisms, plants, animals, and one-celled organisms are all the part of biosphere. Biosphere is we are living in the biosphere. What are seeing on the soil, on the earth, the atmosphere. The basically we call that biosphere. Okay. Then atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Biosphere is just on the soil, is just on the earth, and atmosphere is the which is a layer of gases surrounding our planet. Nitrogen and oxygen account of 99% of gases in dry air. This is all about the air. Okay. That is the atmosphere. Atmosphere. There are like our Earth, there are different areas in atmosphere. There are different zones in atmosphere: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. So science is improving, and they are discovering new zones day by day. So as the syllabus, we can cover these six the zones. Troposphere is the lowest layer of atmosphere and contains about 4/5 of Earth's air, 4 by 5 of the air, troposphere. Cloud mountain, uh, stratosphere. The stratosphere extends from the tropopause, the upper boundary of troposphere, to about 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Ozone layer, ideal for planes that can fly in this part of atmosphere. Stratosphere, usually the jet flights, right? You can see the jet flight flying in the sky. They are flying through the stratosphere area. Then the another zone is mesosphere. The mesosphere extends to up to 80 kilometers above the surface of Earth. It has the coldest temperature in the atmosphere. That is very cold, dipping as low as minus 100 degrees Celsius. The phenomenon of shooting stars also occurs in this layer. Okay, we can see the shooting stars in mesosphere in that area. Ionosphere, it extends to about 690 kilometers, and is extremely thin. It is generally considered as a part of outer space. Okay, this atmosphere layer conducts electricity layer of free electrons and ion, reflecting radio waves. Also, so many radioactive active waves are flying around ionosphere. There are so many electrons and the electricity passing in that ionosphere. So the fifth one is thermosphere. Thermosphere temperature in the thermosphere can rise well above 1,000 degrees Celsius. We talked about mesosphere. Mesosphere is so cold, and just opposite the thermosphere is very high in temperature. Temperature in thermosphere can rise well above 100 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. This layer is characterized by the following properties. First one is it is the thickest, most vertical expansion layer in the atmosphere. The second one is Hubble Space Telescope and the International Space Station (ISS) orbits the Earth in the thermosphere. So we have to remember the Hubble Space Telescope and International Space Station related to thermosphere. So what is exosphere? The exosphere expands and contracts as it comes to contact with solar storms. So it is a very distant thing from a distant area from the Earth. Exosphere is the most outer part of the atmosphere. The exosphere expands and contracts as it comes into contact with solar storms. Okay, so we can learn about some anthropogenic activities and their impacts on environment. The major impacts to environment by agriculture are deforestation, soil erosion, depletion of nutrients, etc. There have been both positive and negative effects on environment in order to increase production. Among fertilizers related problems, it is most micronutrient imbalance, nitrate pollution, uh, leaching deep into soil and contaminating groundwater when the concentration exceeds 25 milligram per liter. They cause blue baby syndrome. The blue baby syndrome is caused by the micronutrient imbalance. So eutrophication. What is eutrophication? The excessive use of nitrogen and P is, I forgot what is P. What P is. Mm, yeah, we will check. And fertilizers in agriculture and leading to algal blooms. Okay, P is I think for phosphorus. The following can be defined as the major environmental damage caused by mining activities: revegetation and defacing of landscape. The These are the activities major environmental, they can cause major environmental damage: revegetation and defacing of landscape, subsidence of land, tilting of building, cracks in houses, etc. So, groundwater contamination. What is a groundwater contamination? With sulfur as the main element that gets converted into sulfuric acid, which makes the water acidic. Some heavy metal also get leached into the groundwater and contaminate it by posing health hazards. Surface water pollution. The acidic water is detrimental to many forms of aquatic life. Sometimes radioactive substances like uranium also contaminate the water bodies. Air pollution, it has been discussed separately. Okay. Uh, ex- Occupational health hazards. What are the occupational health hazards? Miners working in different types of mines suffers from asbestosis, a serious lung condition caused by, asbestosis. What is asbestosis? A serious lung condition caused by long-term exposure of asbestosis. Silicosis, a long-term lung disease caused by inhaling large amounts of crystalline silica, thus black lung disease. From the audience, some of you are from the city of Delhi. The city of Delhi has the highest population air pollution. Uh, they can they can experience these things, right? The occupational health hazards and all. Air pollution. We are just talking about the air pollution. The degradation of air quality of natural atmospheric condition due to this pollution is known as the air pollution. World Health Organization defined it as the presence of materials in the air which are harmful to the living beings once they cross their threshold concentration levels. There are two types of air pollutants. There's a level, there is a uh, limit for all elements in the earth, or sorry, in the air should be maintained. The level should be maintained. If there is a change occurs, it will go to air pollution. It is air pollution is caused by the imbalance of the uh, level of pollutants or level of the elements in the atmosphere, in the air. These are the two types of air pollution, namely primary and secondary. Just things. Primary pollutant. What are the primary pollutants? There is a probability of asking question in an NET-JRF exam. What are the primary pollutants? They can give some names of the elements. They can give the names of some gases. We have to answer for the question. Primary pollutants enter the atmosphere directly from the sources. Some important primary pollutants are as follows. Suspended particles of SPM. Then second, oxide of carbon, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and all. Hydrocarbons, methane, and all. Then fourth one is sulfur oxide. Then we normally talk about the Taj Mahal's air pollution. The area of Taj Mahal is caused by is polluted by the sulfur dioxide, I guess. So the fifth one is nitrogen oxide, and the sixth is a chlorofluorocarbon, CFC carbon. The refrigerators, the perfumes, and the other products produces some chlorofluorocarbons. Its affects to the it is causing the damage of the our ozone. Okay, then the seventh one is lead. Secondary pollutants. What are the secondary pollutants? Secondary pollutants are not directly emitted from the sources. These pollutants are formed as a result of chemical reactions between the primary pollutants and certain atmospheric constituents. In the presence of sunlight, what are the secondary pollutants? The I explained the three secondary pollutants. One is sulfur trioxide. It is a compound formed when a sulfur dioxide react with oxygen. When sulfur dioxide react with oxygen, the sulfur trioxide will be produced. Okay. Then among smoke formation, the smoke is an odd combination of smoke and fog. Smoke plus fog is smoke. Then Another one is acid rain. Acid rain is caused by a chemical reaction that begins when compounds like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are released into the air. The acid rain is very harmful to the living organisms in the atmosphere, in the environment. Okay, water pollution. What is the water pollution? Uh, According to the sources of water pollution, there are two types of water pollution: sources and non point source pollution. Point source pollution. What is source point source pollution? The discharge of harmful substances by specific sources into water body leads to point source pollution. Industrial wastewater and hot water from thermal power plants cause point source pollution. There is a certain points to produce. They are producing some harmful substances. The discharge of pollutants into water body from large areas leads to non-point source pollution. Then non-point source pollutions are municipal wastewater, surface runoff, and oil spills. I explained in the slide what are the municipal wastewater, surface runoff, and oil spills. You can just read and learn the as very deep later. Then impact of water pollution on life. Then I explained some impacts. Oxygen depletion in water bodies. Then deoxification of the water bodies is a very harmful to the living organisms. High levels of organic water increase the rate of decomposition by bacteria which use oxygen for the process. This causes a drop of, this causes a drop in dissolved oxygen in water. In other words, the biochemical oxygen demand, BOD. What is the full form of BOD? Biochemical oxygen demand of water increases. The need of oxygen in water increases. A high BOD indicates what is the this is a probable this is a there is a scope to ask a question about BOD. A high body a high board I mean board biochemical oxygen demand indicates a low level of dissolved oxygen in water. So increasing of BOD is inversely proportional to the the wealth of the just living organisms. Biomagnification. What is a biomagnification? The accumulation of a toxic chemical in the bodies of organisms as we move from producers to primary consumers to secondary consumers, etc. It is called biomagnification. It occurs when a chemical becomes more and more concentrated as we move up to the food chain. This is specifically true in case of non-biodegradable chemicals or pollutants. The classic example is first eaten by planktons, then by small fish, and then by big fish. The fish are eaten by birds and so on. At each level, its concentration goes up. Biomagnification is a is one of the impacts of water pollution. Eutrophication. What is eutrophication? The inorganic nutrients in the runoff from agriculture fields reaching a water body increases the nutrient content of the water body. These nutrients causes the profuse growth of algae in it. This growth eventually causes the death of small fishes and organisms in the death of small organisms and fishes causes an imbalance of the food chain, and basically it is causes the imbalance of the environment itself. Then soil and pollution. The soil is a thin covering. What is soil? There is a definition for the soil. It's a mixture of carbon compounds and other elements, living organisms, and other. The industrial waste, the how a soil pollution occurs. Industrial waste is the industrial waste is a biggest example for the biggest reason behind the soil pollution. Industrial waste, municipal and medical wastes, radioactive wastes, agrochemicals using pesticides and all insecticide plus pesticides, and then they can harm uh, the soil, and there will be soil pollution after agrochemicals. open cast mining. The mining will damage the balance of soil, and it will affect on the soil pollution. Then e-waste. In this era, in this 21st century, the main challenges in the developmental conservation is an e-waste. E-waste used computers, mobile phone, and all electric devices used of plastic and other elements. That is very harmful to the waste is very harmful to the our soil. Then it will cause to the soil pollution. Okay. Uh, just I will check the chat boxes if there is anything. Yeah, peace, prosperous. Yeah, I can continue with my slide. The noise pollution. We always talking about air pollution, water pollution, and all, but we are less serious about this noise pollution. We all know the noise pollution is one of the main pollutions in the environment. It can cause very harmfully. Noise pollution may be defined as environmental noise that cause psychological and physiological damages in the sound of the sound is measured in decibel. The decibel is a unit of measuring the sound. So short of hearing quiet whispers, there is a measure of the voices. Quiet whisper is 30 decibel. Normal conversation, we are talking in the 60 decibels. And loud singing, if we sing loudly, that will be 75 decibel. And there is a level of decibel. There is a level of the voice we can able to that is healthy for the human beings and other living organisms in the earth. There should be there should be a balance between that. So it will cause to hearing loss. Hearing loss that mm, we can gradually we will lose hearing capability gradually. Frequency and duration of voice noise have proportionate impact on our body. Then cracking uh, the crackers and bombs inside the infrastructures in the public spaces are very harmful to the noise pollution, as we know. Masking, it is an inability to hear important environmental cues and animal signals. Noise affects the heart rate, peripheral circulation, and breathing patterns. Persistent noisy environment can cause irritability, headache, and sleeplessness by decreasing productivity. So we have to consider the noise pollution. It is very harmful to the it will be uh, very harmful to the human health. We will have some psychological problems, physiological problems, and all. So we have to be serious on the noise pollution. Biomedical waste, so biological management waste. Then there is a new challenge to the environment. How can we manage? How can manage the biomedical wastes? There are so many biomedical wastes from the hospitals and industries are just throwing out on the earth. International, there are some conferences, there are some determination decisions taken by some organizations and all. There's some bodies. It is a waste producing during diagnostics, treatment, or immunization of human or animals, research activities pertaining theater or in the production or testing of biological or in health campus. International agreement and conventions. There are so many. There are three international agreements and the conventions which are particularly pertinent in biomedical wastes management. So we have to know these three four uh, the convention. There are three conventions based only exclusively for the biomedical wastes. The one is Basel Convention on Hazardous Waste, and the second one is Stockholm Convention in 2006. There is a scope of question. The Stockholm Convention uh, in which year? 2006. Minamata Convention on Mercury. Minamata is a health issue, a very serious health issue. So there is a convention of Minamata, the syndrome. So it is on 2014. Okay. Biomedical waste management handling rules. There is a rule made in 1998, notified before 25 years, notified under the Environment Protection Act 1986. There is a important thing. The Environmental Protection Act is in 1986. We will explain about this. Needs requirement to segregate according to the color code and treat and dispose. Then there should be a color code to according to the harmness of the biomedical wastes. So biomedical waste rules is established in 1998, and the Environmental Protection Act is made by 1986. Okay. Natural and energy resources. What are the energy resources? Conventional and non-conventional. We can just simply call conventional energy resources like coal is a class of widely used energy sources all around the world, since gas limited in the nature, their formation takes millions of years, can be exhausted on one day, pollute the environment on a large scale through smoke and hazardous wastes, highly used in industrial and commercial purpose, etc. Coal, petroleum, etc. Then coal, petroleum are the example of the conventional, very conventional energy resources. The non-conventional energy resources are, what are the tidal energy, wind energy, biomass. Biomass. There is we can reproduce these energies, but we can't reproduce the conventional energies, like we can't conventional matters like coal, petroleum, and all. If the production of coal, petroleum, and all it stops. Then we can't produce the these conventional sources. So we can use the non-conventional energy as much as like solar energy, wind energy, and biomass. Climate change. This is a very important concern in the 21st century. The climate change. There are so many gases are very harmful to the earth and the atmosphere. Then one is the methane, CH4. The chemical formula of methane is CH4. Is the strongest greenhouse gas because it has the most atoms. This is why it has the best trapping radiation. So I saw a question in one of the previous year question. What are the or what is the greenhouse gases in these options? I think the methane or carbon dioxide was there, and the answer was that methane or carbon dioxide. Then carbon dioxide and methanes are normally called greenhouse gases. The carbon dioxide, CO2, is the second strongest and one of the most abundant greenhouse gases. It is the second strongest because it has the most mass, which helps to trap heat more efficiently. So global warming, you know about global warming. So methane and carbon dioxide are the main reasons of behind the global warming. Nitrous oxide, NO2, is the third strongest greenhouse gas because it only has three atoms and does not have as much mass as CO2. That is, and nitrous oxide is less harmful compared to methane and carbon dioxide. Water vapor. How water vapor can change the climate is the weakest, but water vapor is the weakest because it is the lightest of the greenhouse gases. It often changes into liquid and solid form as well. Hence, it is the least effective at trapping infrared radiation. So, as compared to methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, water vapor H2O. Simply the water is very weakest thing in the climate, harming the climate. Then we can divide the natural hazards as four groups: geographical hazards, hydrological hazards, climatological hazards, and meteorological hazards. So, what are the geographical hazards? We can see earthquake, landslide, tsunami, volcanic eruption, and etc. There are mainly, I explained four geographical hazards. We can, I think I saw one or two questions from this area. So be careful. What are the geographical hazards? Earthquake, landslide, tsunami, volcanic eruptions. Hydrological hazards are avalanche, flood. Climatological hazards are extreme temperature, drought, wildfire. So these are the climatological hazards. Then meteorological hazards, cyclones, storms, disease, epidemics. I think in this 21st century, in after the COVID and pandemic period, this is the main concern in natural among the natural hazards. Meteorological hazards are very important. The cyclones, storms are happening many places in the world. So disease, epidemic, and all are coming in the meteorological hazards. So let's relax. A plant is worth 1,000 words. This is I just put the slide for this relaxation. So we have to just remember what we said in the last previous slides, and we will move to the next portion. There are so many goals, and just I'm just going to explain some conferences and some rules for conserving our energy or environment and all. So the main thing is the very important thing in the environmental chapter, Millennium Development Goals is a very important portion. MDG, we can call MDG. In June 1992, please note the year, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Agenda 21 was adopted a comprehensive plan of action to build a global partnership. Please underline global partnership of sustainable development to improve human lives and protect the environment. It is basically to protect environment. In the year 2000 at the UN headquarters in New York, Millennium Summit was held were 8 development goals. How many goals were there? That is a question. There are 8 goals, as known as Millennium Development Goals, were taken up until the year 2015. From 2000 to 2015, we have to achieve these 8 goals. We had to achieve these goals. The targets were mainly achieved across the countries, and it was required to start a fresh plan in the world beyond 2015. We have to do at least these things to conserve our energy. It conserve our earth. What are the 8 main factors, main goals? Eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. There is a wide thing. Eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. It is also related to our environment and people development. Achieve universal primary education. Provide primary education to all human beings. Okay. Promote gender equality and empower women. We can see now there are so many the gender equality protests and equality and equity programs are conducting everywhere. So this is also the gender equality was the main concern of the Millennium Development Summit. The reduced child mortality. So to reduce the child mortality was the goal, one of the goals of Millennium Development Goals. Improve maternal health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. Ensure environmental sustainability to develop a global partnership for the development. These are the 8 basic goals to achieve within 2015. We can just analyze if that are these problems are still occurring, is still existing in this 2025. We can say that Millennium Development Goals was a failure. If there is any improvement in this goals, we can say it is just it helped our environment a lot. So after this, uh, eighth one is decent work in economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, sustainable consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, life below water is also a concept, life on land is also a concern. Peace, justice, and strong institution partnership for the goals. This is an utopia of an ideal life, an ideal environment that is, the people living very peacefully, very with the dignity of the uh, as a society. So please remember these points as part of Millennium Development Goals. Okay. Uh, and I already mentioned the eight. There are 8 points of yeah. There are 8 points in Millennium, like eight basic goals in the Millennium Development Goals. We can see the chart. I already explained these things, so you can check the this later. Sustainable development goals. After Millennium Development Goals, another important portion is this sustainable development goals (SDG). For the next 15 years, the after 2015, the world organizations and world countries uh, uh, have planned something else. For the next 15 years, the UN General Assembly in its 70th session adopted the Sustainable Development Goals with the 17 goals. These are the 17 goals. So I mentioned in this slide, it is by mistake. I will explain later. This is this 8 to 17 points are the part of the sustainable development goals. I will edit and I will share with you. Okay. So the Millennium Development Goals are 8 and Sustainable Development Goals are 18. Okay. Though it was not legally binding, it gave prospects to countries to reorient their domestic spending during the next 15 years. Next 15 years, matlab, 2015 to 2030. They would be responsible for implementing the goals or target. We can at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, Rio plus 20 in Rio de Janeiro. It was in Rio conference in 2012. The question is here, where is Rio plus 20 was held in, so the answer is 2012 June. Where is that happened? The Rio de Janeiro, the capital of the Brazil. Sustainable development is a development that meets the need of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So basically, we have to know this basic thing. Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Okay. Uh, the Sustainable Development Goals were born at United Nations Conference Sustainable Development. We already mentioned that in 2020, Rio plus 20 submit, Rio submit. And I explained the first seven points of the Sustainable Development Goals here. And by mistake, I already showed you, I did already show you the 8 to 17 goals in the previous slides. Okay. So just read the what are the aim: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being and all. Okay. So in as a chart, we can see the 1 to 17. As is, we can you can just learn this chart and go for the exam. 2020 was a landmark year for multilateralism and international policy shaping with the adoption of several major agreements. Sendai framework. There are some points. There are some agreements and summits. One is Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. 2015 March. Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development. That is in 2015. Just remember the years of this uh, summit and the agreements. Transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development with its 17 SDGs. 17 SDG is, what is 17 SDG? I already mentioned that. Was adopted the UN Sustainable Development Summit in New York 2015. Then there is a probability of coming question about the sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals was established or planned in 2015, 2000 for the period of 2015 to 2030. Then, when Paris Agreement on climate change held in December 2015, where is held the Paris, the capital of France. Montreal Protocol. There is an explanation for the Montreal Protocol 1987 to protect the Montreal Protocol is just protect and conserve the ozone layer. Then on 15th of just explaining the details here. On 15 October 2016, parties to Montreal Protocol adopted the Kigali Amendment to phase down production or consumption of chlorofluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon, HFCs worldwide. HFC are widely used alternative to ozone depleting substances such as hydrofluorocarbons, HCFCs, and chlorofluorocarbons already controlled under the protocol. So we have to adopted Kingley Amendment to phase down production and consumption of hydrofluorocarbons. That's the main thing of Montreal Protocol. The basic thing, basic question should be asked in the NET exam. Montreal Protocol held in which year? That is 1987. Rio Summit. Rio Summit is 1920. We already talked about the Rio plus 20 summit, which was held in 2012. The first Rio Summit was held in 1992. UN Conference on Environmental and Development, UNCED, UNCED, Started Conference on Earth Summit that was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Then there is some details about the Rio Summit. Please do the reading about the Rio Summit. So after getting the study material, you can clearly learn about this Rio Summit and all. Convention on Biological Diversity. There is a BOD. What is the full form of BOD? We already um, uh, mentioned about the oxygen demand. There is another this is another thing. Convention on Biological Diversity, BOD. The Convention on Biological Diversity was inspired by the world community's growing commitment to sustainable development. So there are 2 points: Cartagena Protocol on Biodiversity to Convention on Biological Diversity. Then second one is the Nagoya Protocol, aims at sharing the benefit arising from the utilization of genetic resources in a fair and equitable way. So I explained as much in this slide. You can read later. Kyoto Protocol. This is a very important protocol. In 1997, Kyoto Protocol entered into force in 16th February 2005. This is a very important thing. You have to underline or you have to remember this date. The target cover emission of 6 main GHG such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, uh, PFCs and sulfur hexafluoride. Then we have to target the cover the emission of 6 main these gases. It is an international treaty and an extension to 1992 UNFCCC. So USA, Canada, South Asian, Afghanistan, and Taiwan are not part of it. So there are 192 parties now. World's only legally binding treaty to reduce greenhouse gas from this is the period for the period of 2013 to 20. The parties under Kyoto Protocol committed to reduce by 18% of greenhouse gas emission. So please remember Kyoto Protocol as a main important portion in this topic. International Solar Alliance. There is an innovation by India. There is a leadership by India as International Solar Alliance 2016. Under the leadership of India and France jointly in association with France, India led the International Solar Alliance in 2016. The first summit of the International Solar Coalition ISA on 11th March 2018. This is also important. in New Delhi. So I explained more details about this International Solar Alliance. So in the short of time, I move very fast. Paris Agreement. So in 2015, we know the Paris Agreement held. In 2015, Paris Agreement was signed as an international agreement with an aim to reduce global greenhouse gases, and thus it deals with the climate change. So to deal with the climate change, this is a very wide, very wider uh, aim to cover to deal with the climate change. There are 29 articles in the agreement. How many articles was in the Paris Agreement? There are 29 articles. So there have to be effort to limit the temperature increase. This is about to the reducing the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. There is some measures you have to follow these measures and note down. The rich nations should help poor nations by providing climate finance to adapt to climate change and switch to renewable energy. There will be some uh, there will be some funds needed to adopt some climate adopt some these strategies. So rich nations should help poorer nations. All developed nations should be helping the poorer nations to uh, cope up with the strategy. Paris Agreement comes under the board umbrella of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Is a convention held in 1992 to combat climate change. Kyoto Protocol 1997 was another major international commitment under UNFCCC. National Disaster Management Act 2005. There is a that is not much important as compared to this Paris and Montreal Protocol and all. But you have to learn this also. The Act provides National Disaster Management Act 2005. This is a national act. The Act provides the establishment of. There are some institutions and organizations. NDMA. Please, you should know the full forms of these uh, terms. NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, SDMA, State Disaster Management Authority, and all, DDMA, NIDM, NDRF. So I'm not explaining much because I mentioned in detail in this slide. You can check later. National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC. What is the full form of NAPCC? National Action Plan of Climate Change. In 2008, the programs and policies for the climate action plan and improvement put together the national plan on water, renewable energy efficiency, agriculture, etc. There are 8 missions. Then I mentioned the 8 missions of the national action plan. National action, solar emission 2008 achieve 100. Please note down these measures. 100 gigawatt solar power by 2022. This is already 2023 when we have to check how could we achieve this. Then if we could achieve these missions, uh, uh, achieve 100 gigawatt solar power by 2022, 100 gigawatt, 60 gigawatt from large and medium scale solar projects. And this is all about the solar energy. So we have to utilize the solar energy as maximum. Then second one is national mission on for enhanced energy efficiency, national mission on sustainable habitat and on. So there are 8 points. You have to note down these 8 points and remember. Biological hotspots. What are the biological hotspots in India? A biodiversity hotspot is a biological region with a significant reservoir of biodiversity. This is a new term in the modern era. We have to make some biological hotspot to conserve our biodiversity and to conserve our environment and the Earth. Biosphere reserve. There are some biosphere reserves. Biosphere reserve protect larger areas of natural habitat in comparison to national parks or animal sanctuaries. So there are 2 points. biosphere reserves are the area of terrestrial and coastal ecosystem which promote the conservation of biodiversity with its sustainable use. The second one is biosphere reserves are the biggest entity among the three. The level of restriction in the increasing order is biosphere reserves and all. So please remember these points also. Important legislations and terms relating to environment, pollution, forest, and wildlife. After this class, you have to read these acts. The Factories Act to 1948. Please read the please write the year and hyphen. Then what are the acts? The Factories Act is in 1948. The Insecticides Act are established in 1968. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Then the Air Act 1981. The Conservation Act is very important. That is held in that is established in 1980. The Wildlife Protection Act is in 1972. So there are some more acts. The Environmental Protection Act, Shelter Committee recommendations, National Green Tribunal, Environmental Impact Assessment, and all. So so we have to make notes from the slides and major environmental movements in India. There are some environmental movements to conserve the natural biodiversity and all. There are some main important movements in India. Chipko movement. Chipko movement was mainly in Uttarakhand. Sundarlal Bahuguna was the key took part in the Chipko movement. Apiko movement was in Uttar Karnataka, Western Ghats in Uttar Karnataka regions of Karnataka. The main purpose was to prevent commercial felling of trees. So commercial cutting of trees. It's against uh, Apiko movement was against the commercial cutting of trees. Chipko movement was embracing the trees upon seeing an axe coming. This is also for against the cutting of trees. Tehri Dam movement. The third one is Tehri Dam movement. The movement was spearheaded by Baba Amte. Baba Amte was against the submergence of lands by construction of dams. So there are there are a lot of deforestation was going behind of the dam constructions and all. So Tahrir Dam movement was against uh, the constructions of dam. So then another thing is Save Silent Valley movement that was in Kerala in 1973. The famous poet Sukata Kumari and the other cultural leaders were in front of the protest Save Silent Valley movement 1973. The valley was declared as a Silent Valley National Park in 1985. For an information, in 1985, the Silent Valley uh, became a national park. Narmada Bachao Andolan, Medha Patkar. So, who was the founder of Narmada Bachao Andolan? Medha Patkar. Then Taj Trapezium Zone. There is a trapezium zone. Sulfur dioxide gas released by Mathura oil refinery and other industries. Then caused extensive damage to Taj marbles. It uh, corroded the marble and formed fungus and also referred to marble cancer. So there are so many movements like trapezium zone. There was a protest against in Malabar regions of Kerala against the Gwalior Rayons company uh, uh, against the wastage of industrial wastage. So there are so many movements all over India for conserving our energy, conserving our environmental things. Key institution for environment. We are going to the last portions of the slides, the class. Key institution for environment in India: Bombay Natural History Society, Mumbai. Worldwide Fund for Natural India, New Delhi. Center for Science and Environment, New Delhi. CPR, Environmental Education Center, Chennai. Then there is a probability of asking question. Where is the Worldwide Fund for Nature India situated in New Delhi? Then where is Center for Environmental Education situated in? Then like these questions will be it probably comes in the New Jersey NET examinations. So as in the short span of time, I just covered all of the main topics in the people development and environmental portions. So it is already 8:56. It's going to 9 p.m. So I just put some sample questions here. For there are no questions that this is not solved. This is your homework. You can take it as an homework. You can solve. So I repeat, the probability of cracking NET and JRF is very dependable to your preparation on your previous year question papers and mock tests. So do the mock test and all. We can see later. And I think if you have some, you need some clarification on some topics I just covered. I know I went very fast. I had to cover all of these topics in 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So there was some limitation in this short span of time, but I made the slide for you as detailed as possible. So you can just take it. I will share the slide to the organizers, and you can get from them. So, all the very best. If you have some concerns and if you have some doubts, you can ask now. There is a 3 minutes remaining. Okay. Did you enjoy your class? Uh, if you did enjoy the class, I'm very grateful. If you can use this remaining 3 minutes to ask some doubts and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shabab, sir, for your wonderful informative insights on people
Thank you. You're
development
welcome.
and environment. Okay, if you have any doubts, please ask in this time, or please feel free to ask and reach out later also. So let me tell you some important things like I say my heartfelt thanks to our faculty, Mr. Shabab sir, for the excellent session, and to all the participants for cooperating. And a big thanks to MSF EFLU Hyderabad for conducting such a supportive, insightful crash course. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next session. Thank you.